Jessica from Peace Love Books, and I'm here with an all about R.S. Gray video. I have a few of these videos on my channel about some of my favorite authors. I'll link them down below. And I was trying to hold off on making this video until I read more from R.S. Gray. I've actually read 12 of her books, but she has, I think, 5 or 6 more that I haven't read, and I own a few of them. But because I've read 12 of them, I thought I would go ahead and do this video. In these kinds of videos, I just share everything I love about their books and about their different books, which my favorite ones are, which ones weren't absolute favorites. But for R.S. Gray, I've only given her books 4 or 5 stars. She writes the best romantic comedies, the best sports romances, and I'm gonna get to the books that I have loved from R.S. Gray. I'm not going to talk about these because I actually have not read them. I own 3 by her that I haven't read yet that I was trying to wait to read before I did this video. We have Behind Her Lens, Chasing Spring, and then With This Heart. I have not read these yet. I don't know what they're about, so I can't share that, but they're a part of her collection that she's written. Also, I'm pretty sure on Instagram she talked about having published her first book that like 20 people bought, and it's not for sale anymore, and I would love to get my hands on that because that's fabulous. I would love to read my favorite author's first published book that probably not a lot of people have read. But yeah, besides that, I'm gonna get to the books that I have read and loved. So the first two I'm going to talk about are actually part of a series together, and that is The Allure of Dean Harper and The Allure of Julian Lefray. I own book 2, I don't own book 1 because I found this at Half Price Books and I had to buy it. Book 1 is about a girl who wants to go into fashion, and so I think she's a blogger, and she ends up working for Julian Lefray, who is a major designer, and it's their romance. In this one, it is the friend who also has a blog, but she is a food critic and a foodie, and so she like goes around everywhere and tries out restaurants and like shares about it, and she wants to work in the restaurant business, and so she is hired by Dean Harper, who is infuriating to her, and it's a really fun hate to love romance. Both of these are super fun. I loved them both a lot, and my sister read it and she loved them too, so I definitely recommend this series from R.S. Gray. The next book I have to share with you is Anything You Can Do, and this is one of my favorite covers that she has. All of her covers now have the same kind of theme going on because like that's her brand, I guess. And this one was about a girl and a guy who absolutely cannot stand each other. Ever since high school they have been enemies. I'm pretty sure they're neighbors, and it's 10 years later and they both have come back. They're both doctors and they both want to work for the same doctor to try to take over his practice when he decides to retire. And it's their romance, and it's enemies to lovers, and they are super competitive, and it's a lot of fun, really funny romance, and I enjoyed it a lot. The next one actually is my favorite by her and the last one I own, and this was the first book I read by her, and it's Scoring Wilder. Thank you to my best friend Sarah for recommending me to R.S. Gray, because without her I would not have read Scoring Wilder. My brother got this for me for my birthday because it was on my list. My brother used to play soccer, so of course he's like, oh, I gotta get you the soccer book. This is about a female soccer player who is just starting out in college on her soccer team, and their team gets a new coach who is Wilder. He is a hotshot soccer player and he wants the girls to take him seriously, but it's their romance, and it's really, really, really good, and my favorite of hers, and I recommend it to everybody. I also want to say I am super, super thankful and lucky to get ARCs of R.S. Gray's books. So whenever she has a new book out, I always sign up to get an e-ARC, and I have never been rejected for it, which is amazing. So a lot of these I have read for review from her. It does not anyway sway my opinion of any of her books. She's just an amazing writer to begin with, and that's why I love them. But the next book I have to share with you, which I think was one of the first ones that I got to review for her, was The Summer Games, Settling the Score, and this is kind of a spin-off from the Scoring Wilder book because this is about a girl that played with the girl from Scoring Wilder in the soccer, and I think that she's actually on this team. This is her Olympic series, this came out, I believe, around the Rio Olympics, and this one is a romance between a soccer player and a swimmer, and it's super fun. I love the whole aspect of getting into the lives of the Olympic Village and how like a lot of scandalous stuff happens there, and it's really good. I really enjoyed this one. Now, book 2 in the series is The Olympic Games Out of Bounds, and this one was not my favorite. I still give it a 4 stars. It was still really good. This is about a girl who is on the gymnastics team, and it's her relationship with her coach. So it's a bit taboo, but it was still a really interesting book. I mean, obviously I love coach and player romances because I love Scoring Wilder, but it's also with the Olympics. It's just a really fun story in that same world. The spin-off of the Summer Games series is actually A Place in the Sun, and I believe this is getting a new cover because this one doesn't really fit with R.S. Gray's brand, I guess, even though I'm obsessed with this cover. It's so pretty. This is about the sister of the swimmer from book 1 on the Settling the Score series. So she is British and she is kind of spoiled. She doesn't have to work. She decides to go to Italy, which is inspired by a vacation R.S. Gray took. I follow Rachel on Instagram. That's R.S. Gray's real name. And she had this really amazing trip to Italy with her husband that they went on before she had her baby, and they inspired her, I believe, or I'm pretty sure that trip inspired her to write this book. And so our main character goes to Italy, and she just like doesn't really have any cares in the world because she's from a rich British family, and she ends up staying at a rundown hotel, and I'm pretty sure she's trying to like get the hotel back up and running, and she falls for the town's grumpy recluse kind of guy who doesn't want anything to do with anyone. It's a really emotional story, and I really enjoyed it, and I loved the fact that it was in Italy, and I think you guys would like it. The next one I have to share with you is probably another one of my top favorites from her, and that is Arrogant Devil. This one was so successful when R.S. Gray published it, and this is about a woman who's tired of being emotionally abused by her husband. She is forced to be like the docile, stay-at-home wife, and she really is tired of being treated like that, and like she doesn't have an opinion, so she just leaves in the middle of the night and hops on a plane and goes to her half-sister's hometown where her half-sister lives, and her half-sister's actually not there, and they don't have that close of a relationship, and she's like, I need a job, I need to do something, I need a place to stay. She literally has the clothes on her back, and so her half-sister asks the owner of the ranch that she works on to give her a job. He is an arrogant devil. He hates her at first sight, he judges her, and he's like, fine, you can stay in this crappy, disgusting outhouse, and, well, it's not like a bathroom, it's like a crappy just house outside. And she says okay, and she makes the best of it, and it's their romance. It's so good. It's an enemies to lovers kind of, like he's super mean to her, and I just loved it so much, and I gave it a 5 out of 5 stars. It's amazing. Then we have The Fortunate Ones, which was a little bit different, I feel like, of what Rachel's come out with. This is a slow burn, in my opinion, age gap romance, and so we have this girl who works at a country club with her sister, and she is used to waiting on the, you know, rich and the famous of their town, and the fortunate one who is like the prime member of the club, everyone whispers when he's there. He comes in and she ends up waiting on him, and it's their romance, and they definitely are at different places in their lives, and they're like, this is never gonna work in real life, and so they really dance around each other and have to look at if they actually can have a relationship together. It was so good. I really like this. If you want a different, not romantic comedy necessarily, but just a romance from R.S. Gray, this is the way to go. Next book I have to share with you, I personally love because it has dogs in it, and that is The Fox and the Hound. R.S. Gray has, I think, 2 dogs herself. I have 2 dogs myself, and she might have 1. I don't remember. I try not to be too stalkerish for authors, but this is about a girl who just recently adopted a dog, and she thought it was going to be like a small dog, and it ended up being just this giant dog, and she has a hard time controlling it. And I think the first time that she meets the love interest, her dog just like demolishes him in the parking lot of her apartment, and then she figures out that it's her vet. And so he is so mean about this dog, and like, first of all, I feel like he was a bit broodier than I feel like a vet should be about dogs. Like, he was just like despised by her dog. But it was really cute and fun, and he ends up helping her train her dog because she really needs help with it at this class that all these other girls are like fawning over him at, and it's really cute. If you like a dog romance, you'll love this one. Next we have The Bow and the Bell, which is a book that takes place in New Orleans, and actually it starts out when our main character is in high school, and she has a crush on the guy who's in law school, who's living in their like pool house, and it is our main love interest. And obviously it's a huge age gap, so like they can't be together because like he feels like sleazy liking the high schooler living in the house that he is being let stay at. And so something happens though where they are separated and don't talk to each other for a long time, and then it's like fast forwarding to when she's a lot older and more mature, and definitely it's okay for them to have a romance because they are adults now, and it's really good. I love how they push each other, and it was just a really cute romance. I did think that the part where they were kind of trying to avoid their feelings when it was younger lasted a lot longer than I expected, but it was still a good romance, and I like to see how it developed when it was taboo to now when it's okay. So it was really fun to read. And the last one was her newest release that I have to share with you, and that is Not So Nice Guy. This is about two teachers. I'm a high school English teacher myself, so I loved reading a book about teachers, and these two have been best friends since they had their orientation as new teachers in this school, and they have been convinced that neither one of them likes each other, even though like they have a crush on the other one. And there's so much miscommunication of misinterpretation of events, which is funny. I do think this took a turn of a little too comedic for me, and out there that's something that had happened, but it was still really fun. I still give it a 4 out of 5 stars. Up until that event had happened, I was loving this book, devouring it. Definitely romantic comedy, like to a T. You will love this if you love rom-coms, and it was just so cute. I definitely recommend it. I recommend all of R.S. Gray's books. And that is all about R.S. Gray. Let me know down below what your favorite R.S. Gray book is, or if you have not read, which one you would love to start with. I definitely recommend her. I will link her Amazon page and Goodreads author page down below, as well as her Instagram, because her daughter is the cutest, and I love following her everyday life. She does yoga, and she's super amazing, and I definitely recommend you all to read her books and follow her on social media. And that's all I have for you. As always, thank you so much for watching, and have a good day. Bye.